Hello everyone, myself Vaibhav. I welcome all of you to today's session of Visual JForex, in which we will talk about the linear weighted moving average, the LWMA. This is the part of ongoing series in which we are taking a look on different moving averages, and we are trying to see how we can use these different moving averages on the Visual JForex platform to develop and deploy our strategies in the automated format. In today's session, we will talk about the LWMA block. We will see its functions and how we can make an automated trading algorithm with the help of linear weighted moving average, LWMA. If you see the short description, this is a type of moving average in which the higher weightage is assigned to the recent price, and in that respect it's a different from the simple moving average. And here we do the calculation by taking the closing price, and then we multiply that closing price of each period with more weight being given to the recent price. So in that manner it's linear weighted moving average. And here these are parameters, the input and output parameters. Now let's move on to the Visual JForex platform. This is the platform developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA, so that we can automate our trading algorithms and then sit back and relax until make money. So it's the turn of MA. From here we will have this listing of different indicators in which the main component is moving average, and each time a different variety. Now it's the turn of LWMA. So this is the block for the LWMA indicator. You will have these input values, output values, and then settings, the parameters which need to be defined for the efficient working of the said indicator. This description is exact match of what we have seen in the product description, this block. Whenever you get a bit confused, you can just click and see what this LWMA is all about. Now, as you might be aware already, we have to choose the default instrument, then we have to define the time period, and this is of essence whenever you are defining any indicator. The time period on which you are going to define it makes all the difference. So for example, let's add the same indicator on this chart, and we will see how this LWMA can be helpful in guiding us to determine the trend of the underlying instrument. So this is LWMA defined at 14, and the block we saw there, the default value was 10, and it doesn't matter, we can change it anytime. For example, we will increase the width here of the output so that it's more prominently visible. Now, as you can see, provided by the fact that more weight is given to the recent price action, so because of that, the LWMA follows the price action pretty closely, as you can see from the chart as well. And one key factor is also the number of periods chosen for the calculation, the look back amount, the look back time. And since it is the 14, so here we are taking into account the 14 candlesticks of 1 hour each, that's 14 hours data, and we are deriving this LWMA on the basis of that. If you increase this time period, then you will have the different output. For example, if you make it 50, and the 50 is giving us a more smoother and more reliable also, you can say. Of course, that's subjective. You have to make the choice yourself as on which time frame you want to plot this LWMA indicator and what is the best time frame to do that is always a subjective matter. The thing is, we can customize this indicator as per our requirement, and if you want to choose the time period of 50, all you have to do is change that value here and make it 50, and you will have it defined likewise. And now shift is the look back period, the time by which we want the output value to be taken. Means suppose if you are taking shift as 10, then we will be going back in time by 10 candlesticks, and here given the fact that each candlestick is of 1 hour, that means we will be going back in time by 10 hours. So right now the time is 7 GMT, so the 10 hours back the time was 21 GMT, and that's 29 July 21 GMT. Okay, so this is the output value which will be taken into consideration while coming to that format, or you can say setup, wherever you will be using the output value. So this is how the look back period works. And then suppose if we have to change this and we take 10, this is defined at 10 minutes, and here if you have been working on the platform for even some time, you might be aware the time period can be anything as per your choice. And then comes the output value. So here is the output value, which will be the value 10 hours back defined on the LWMA of 50 hours on the Euro USD. So this is the output value, and let us for example do some comparison in today's session. We will also add one if block to see how we can use so indicator, and then comes the component. For now we haven't really seen the description for the if, so right now we will not dwell into that. I just would like to remind that this is a kind of if else statement in coding. So if one condition is fulfilled, then the flow will move ahead, next sequence of action will happen. If the condition is not fulfilled, then the flow will stop, nothing will happen. So that's how it works. Now let us change this block to the hourly as well, and we want this time period to be different. We want it to be 50, and the shift will be 0. That means the current value, the current output value of the LWMA will be taken into account. First thing first, you have to choose a starting point, and it can be anything, on candle, on tick, on trade event. Then you have to get this flow moving, and then here. So now these are sequences in this algorithmic setup. We are not building any setup. I am just trying to explain to you how to use these output values. So now here the shift is 10 and here the shift is 0. That means this is current value, this is the value of 10 hours back, and we also have to match this setting whenever we want to do the comparison. So whenever you are doing any comparison between two different output values, make sure that these settings, the upper side on which the calculation is being done as well as the applied price of the instrument is equal. Otherwise it's fairly difficult, almost impossible to do a meaningful comparison. Now we want the buy trade to happen when the values are going up. In such scenarios, all you have to do is put this output value, the LWMA 12, and just put in this condition and get the flow from this, that the first input is greater than the second input. That means this LWMA 12 is greater than LWMA 11, and only in such a scenario the buy trade will happen. So all you have to do is take this statement and join this block to the next sequence of action, and that's how it's going to work. So I hope you got the point. The point being that whatever are your requirements, in whichever way you want to define these setup. Suppose if you are, as I explained, if you want the buy trade to happen when these LWME values are going up, then all you have to do is compare two different output values at different point in time, and if the sell trade is going to happen, then you can simply say that whenever the value is lower, the sell trade should happen. So that's the beauty of the Visual JForex platform. It makes it fairly simple to understand, and also you can do a different way, like you add one more LWMA of different time period, and then you compare, or you can say that you can use even crossover kind of structure. One LWMA is greater than the another LWMA of the same time period, sorry, at the same time, and you can do that as well. So for example, LWMA we have added, and we edit it to different. So here it's of 30. Now all you can do is not all means all you have to do is simply put in the output values of these two different LWMA, and you can do the comparison. Suppose one is this shorter time frame LWMA is higher than this longer time frame, that means the momentum is bullish. So you can do the comparison, and you can put in these two output values in a statement, and define the condition, and then as per your requirements the trading will happen. And also you can also do the comparison in terms of the price action. You can define that the close should be above the LWMA for say a buy trade, or the close should be below the LWMA for a sell trade. So similarly you can carry out these algorithmic setups in various ways, and you have to figure out a setup which is going to yield more profitable trades. So you have to do experimentation, then you have to do the back testing. The back testing is also available on the platform, so you get a fair amount of idea if any particular setup has been successful in the past or not. Based on that you can implement the strategy on your current account, on the live account. So that's it for today's session, and in tomorrow's session we will be back with a new indicator. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day. Goodbye.